Hello everyone and welcome to our 194th webinar series today. I'm very pleased that this innovative virtual forum has been so well received. It has given us an opportunity to scale the event to a wider community and be even more inclusive. It's a notable achievement to mark 53 months of cooperation between all AABN members to leverage AABN as critical driver of development. Since the launch on 27 June 2020, the forum has garnered a lot of interest and excitement from all regions of the world, with a cumulative attendance of over 12,600 plus attendees from around the globe participating in more than 193 virtual sessions, which were organized by AABN team with over 193 plus speakers. The forum has had the best balance of participation, both in terms of members, regions, and gender. From the beginning, our goal has remained the same: to help entrepreneur community replicate examples of good and sustainable use of AABN and to encourage everyone to make good and timely use of the rich database available. Conversations can often veer off track. Tensions can quickly rise and it can feel like you are just putting out fires. But what if you had a set of tools to help shift the energy of these conversations in real time? That's where the 3 R's come in. These are not just communication tricks, they are mindset shifts that help you take control of the narrative, guide your team, and foster a culture of trust and collaboration. The beauty of these tools is that they help leaders move away from reactive conversations towards more intentional, productive ones. The result, when leaders embrace the 3 R's, reframe, refocus, and redirect, they tap into the neuroscience of conversations, unlocking new pathways of clarity and connection. These tools are not just techniques, they are the keys to fostering trust, reducing misunderstandings, and shifting conversations from conflict to collaboration. By applying this principle, leaders elevate team dynamics, creating environments where people feel heard, valued, and safe to contribute their best ideas. The impact is profound. Conflicts become opportunities for growth, challenges transform into moments of learning, and teams become more cohesive, engaged, and high performing. The result is a thriving culture where everyone feels empowered to succeed, driving a positive and energized work environment. In our today's webinar, our distinguished alumni will explore three powerful communication principles: role play, reframe, and right-hand column, what you would like to call the 3 R's. Today, we have in our midst Mr. Kingshuk Ganguly, facilitator and coach, Lightbulb Moments Consulting. He is a respected professional and a social visionary. What makes him an apt choice for this audience today is that he too is an alumnus of Annamalai University and he belongs to the 1990 batch of electrical engineering. I have the pleasant duty of welcoming and introducing him today at Executive Communication, the 3 R's, an interactive business networking session. A very warm welcome to you, Kingshuk Ganguly, and we feel profoundly honored that you have taken time off on a Sunday morning to address us. Kingshuk is a graduate electrical engineer from Annamalai University and has an MBA from the SPJ Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. He has coached 150 clients across 18 countries in the last 13 years. He has in excess of 3,800 hours of coaching experience and is currently pursuing MCC credentials from ICF. He is an ex-fellow of Institute of Coaching, a Harvard Medical School affiliate, and is also a member of European Mentoring and Coaching Council, EMCC. He is trained at Harvard Law School, Negotiation, CCL Singapore Coaching, the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, UK, Design Thinking, MIT plus IDEO, and ISAPS. He's certified on multiple instruments: MBT, Step 2, Huygens, PAPI, Belbin, Strong, Interest Inventory, Skill Scope that help a coach gain insights. He's certified on facilitation skills. In 2008, he was selected as a fellow of the Wharton School, US, one of the selected members on the interview panel to shortlist managing directors for 4 public sector banks of India in 2019. Co-created the first CEO group coaching program in India with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, world's top executive coach, in 2020. Kingshuk is an entrepreneur since 2011. He has a total of 30 years of experience in leadership roles with CRISIL, a S&P global company, AXA Fidelity, GE, L&T, and Tube Investments. Currently, coach in residence for a USD 1 trillion Fin Services JV, fifth year, awarded the Global Best Practice winner for creating the transition coaching program in AXA in Singapore 2010. helps scientific leaders across industries. With a personality like Kingshuk Ganguly, you can go on and on eulogizing. But let me stop here and let the audience have the privilege of listening to you, Kingshuk. A very warm welcome to you once again to you, Kingshuk. Over to you. Thank you and over to you, Kingshuk.
Yeah. Gopi, thank you. I know this bio was shared, and if it stands the test of time and the respect of this audience, I think time will tell. So thank you everyone for your time. I understand it's a Sunday, it's a morning, and some of you might be out of India. So appreciate you taking out time for this. I treat this session as a joint learning session. I'll be sharing some some experience, but depend more on the Q&A. So feel free to put up your hand, intervene and chat. So Gopi, thank you. I will share my screen, and if you can give me a thumbs up if you're able to see this, that will be helpful. Are you able to see this?
Yes. Yeah.
And are you able to see the transition?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's continue. So when Gopi, reached out, and I want to thank Pervez Mohammed. He is my 1 year senior. I think he connected me to Gopi. So when Gopi reached out, I was actually in a quandary as to what should be the topic of the communication. And then I realized that if if I look back at my experience and the engagement with stakeholders over a period of time, one thing which has really stood out, and it's like the intersection of all these circles, the Venn diagram thing, communication actually stood out. But I said that communication per se doesn't carry that much impact. Suppose we term it executive communication, then it has a totally different meaning. So I communicated to Gopi that I will do executive communication, and then went to the drawing board to figure out what should I put in that. So this is the story of this presentation. Today, I'm going to narrate 3 stories. One which happened in Jaipur, one which happened in Mumbai, and one which happened in Hyderabad. Okay. So I'll begin with Jaipur. Okay. Now, Jaipur, I was there quite a few years back, and I was handling the site training function of a large corporate multinational. And one day my boss told me that we're going to have a site review. Okay. So you need to present the training dashboard for the whole site. And I was also handling an operations team. And you need to present update on the operations also. And we will have the site leader and some leaders from Gurgaon who will come and attend this site review. So it will be nearly about 15 people in the room. So what do you think was the first step that I did? If you can chat on the group, that will be lovely. As a training leader, what do you think is the first step that I did when my boss told me that you will have a site review? It will be half an hour presentation.
Knowing the team members.
Understanding the audience. Okay. Very good. Others?
What is the subject, about something about your subject?
Okay. Yes, something about the subject. Impact. I was scared. I did some data collection also. Background. Okay.
Probably the agenda.
Agenda. Yes. What do they expect out of me? Yes. This was also an important thing. What is the context of the review? So key takeaway, audience. Nice. Yeah. So all this is very good. And I said, okay, let's go ahead. I had about 3 days to prepare. And I went into the room with my PowerPoint. And the Excel sheet was embedded in my PowerPoint. Okay. And I stood up, and halfway through the presentation, my boss asked a question. So I said, okay, I will stop the presentation. Let me go to my Excel sheet. So I clicked the Excel sheet on the PowerPoint. Took me to the Excel sheet. And there the Excel sheet, gave some trouble. There were some data issues. I came back to the PowerPoint. What do you think was going through in my mind at this point in time?
So you may be a bit nervous.
Bit nervous, okay.
And you may try to recollect out of your memory. You are preparing yourself to talk about from your memory.
Correct. Frustration, I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. What else? Overthinking in case it failed. Yes. Throw away PPT and speak. Okay. That was not an option because I was kind of hanging on to it for dear life. So I could not throw away my PPT. Distracted from the main agenda. Yes, that happened very much. Speak from the heart. My heart was nowhere to be seen. It was all very blurry-eyed at that moment. So what I did was I said, there's some problem with the Excel sheet. Let's junk it. Let me just speak from my experience. What do you think the site leader said at that point in time?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So I said, let's keep the Excel sheet aside. I'll just speak from my experience. So
Okay.
the site leader intervened. What do you think he said?
Maybe make it short.
Yeah, make it short. And what else?
Maybe did a trial before.
Should have done a trial before. Okay. His raised eyebrows were telling me that, he was not very happy. Okay. So I was reading his face. Yeah, prepare well next time was for next time, but I had to finish those 10 minutes there. So the site leader said, I'm happy to hear your experience, but I was looking for some data because I've come from Gurgaon all the way to hear your summary as well as your data. And I hope you will stick to some facts. So, and facts was something which I didn't have at that point in time. So I tried to recall some facts. And then one of the business leaders who was my partner from the business side, he said, Kingshuk, I'm not sure if that data, what you're saying is right. So I said some percentage and he said something else. And when I looked at him, I realized that, that is one person I don't get along too well. And I have a past with him. And that whole thing was coming up in the presentation as I was speaking. What do you think I did next?
Maybe you
Sorry? Conflict resolution, yeah, I mean, good idea, but I had to resolve the conflict outside. Now I was in deep trouble.
So you
maybe
may
you
say
said
that
I'll check the data
maybe
and come back.
Yeah, I said that I will check the data and come back. At this point, the site leader got a little more upset. He looked at my boss and he started whispering something to her. What do you think happened to me at that point in time?
Again,
You didn't have B
frustrated and
plan.
embarrassed.
Yeah, I was very embarrassed. Absolutely. My heart sank. Absolutely, Vishwanath.
You didn't had B plan.
I didn't have a B plan, clearly. I was like sinking by the minute. You are right.
When was it? How many years back?
About 22 years back.
Okay.
So he whispered something into the ears of my leader and she whispered something back and they made some notes in their diary. Now, clearly my focus has shifted from the PPT to the Excel sheet to the notes, what was getting written in the notepad. I said that I think I'll have to come back with the correct data and present it to this group. Can I do that? So the site leader said, I think you should do that. Thank you. And whom do we have next for presenting? So I quickly wrapped up my laptop, picked up my charger, and moved out. And it was one of the most embarrassing and profound moments for me at that point in time. What do you think I did when I went back to my desk?
Prepare the shortcomes and prepare for the next presentations in future. How to outcome these shortfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Also, you could have sent by mail the correct data and whatever left out items, whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to convey data, all that you can send by mail also. Because it's of course the Excel sheet, you could have done that.
Yeah. I could have done that. I was also worried about what my boss would say when she came out of that review. Maybe she would set up some time in the evening or something in the next day. So I was quite a bit scared, trembling at that point in time. And I was actually quite numb and I didn't know what to do. So I kind of went for a tea and started writing in my notepad as to what exactly happened. My team members saw me completely red-faced and they were a little worried. So they kind of crossed me by the side. They looked at me, did not intervene because they knew that something is wrong, and they went away. Okay. So that was the end of the first event. So that is how my first site review happened in Jaipur, which was a kind of a turning point. Okay. I'll go to the next story. This happened with my boss in Mumbai, different company. Okay. So he was my colleague in a previous organization. And in this organization, he came in as my boss. So clearly he knew that I'm in this organization. So he called me to his room and he said, Kingshuk, we have been colleagues together. And today I am in this role as a manager. So I want to ask you, how do you see this relationship, etc.? And what expectations do you have? Okay. So I just want to hear from people in this room. What do you think I said when he asked me this?
When you are
To
my
keep work
manager,
professional.
yeah, I mean, you are my leader. That's it. That.
You're my leader. Okay.
Yeah, you're my leader, and I
Hmm.
will do, whatever I'm bound to do or I need to do.
Okay. So
I'll do all my support. Yeah.
I'll give all my support. That's right. Okay. Good. Anyone else?
To keep a professional relationship as such.
Right. I like this from Abhijit. In the office, you are my boss, but on weekends at the coffee bar, we are friends. Okay. Nice. What else? Anyone else? We had attended some programs in Singapore. We had traveled together. We had been in forums together. So we had a past. What do you think I told him? Anyone else? Let's
You
keep
would
things
have told,
professional, Pratap. Okay.
you would have told him that you know me better than anybody else because we had our old connections and we worked together, and
Right.
you may be knowing more than anybody in this room.
Okay. That's a possibility too. I respect hierarchy, Shalab. Okay. Terms of engagement. Okay. How will we work together? We thought of that. Okay. Fair enough. So surprise, surprise. I told him that I don't trust you. Because I actually didn't trust him. All my past with him had not been very nice. And I was not very happy that, such a person was coming into the organization. So I said, I don't trust you. What do you think he said?
Maybe to work out the possibilities for better relationship in future.
Okay,
This is
Tawfiq,
new
thank you.
time, this is new time, new space, new place. So let's work it out.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Shalab
may
likes my
ask
honest
you.
reply. Okay.
He may ask you
Okay.
more reasons. He may ask you for more reasons.
Yeah. I think Roy is saying the same thing. We are in a new avatar. Why don't you trust me? Okay. Okay. So that's what he said, that, thanks for being honest, Kingshuk. But maybe we can talk about things, why, you don't trust, maybe something I have done which you don't trust. And also maybe the context has changed. So maybe we can talk about it. So with this, what he did was he said, okay, let's go to the ground floor. We were on the 9th floor in the building. So he said, let's go to the HRB and talk about it. I would like to meet the team also. Maybe you can, uh, help me introduce to the team. So I said, yeah, sure. Let's go to the team. So we created a small huddle in the ground floor where the HR team was there. So we went there. We quickly brought all the 50, 60 people together into the room. And he said, guys, my name is so-and-so. I'm taking over as the CHR of this company. And I just joined today afternoon. I had lunch and I was having a chat with Kingshuk. And I thought I'll say hello to all of you. So Kingshuk, why don't you tell the team what you think of me? With that, he gave me the microphone. What do you think I said to the team?
Same, that you don't trust him.
Shalab, good job. Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, in a polished way, maybe, the past, I mean, probably not great or something, not direct, but just say, I knew him. He was my, previously I had worked with him, and yeah, I have some experiences, and it's a new. I mean, not talking about the past, just say it's a new era, new stuff, and I'm looking forward. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Okay. The challenge with me at that time was if I say something else, then he will catch me. If I say what I told him, then the team will catch me. So I was between the devil and the deep sea.
So at this time, you have to definitely win the confidence of the team and take the team along with you.
Right.
And show him that the team is along with you. You are a bigger strength now. So you have to say, or probably you would have told that, dear colleagues, we are up to a big task.
Right.
We have a collective challenge on hand.
Right. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I told the team that I don't trust him.
You were brave, yeah.
Right. So what was going through my mind at that point in time?
Maybe to be
Some
honest,
guts, Vishwanath. Yeah.
To prove you are
Yeah.
right.
Prove I am right. Okay. Tell me more. How does that explain that, please?
Because you have the courage to say that you don't trust a person. So you need to also have a justification on the point why you don't trust the person. So you need to
Okay.
prove.
Yeah. Yeah. So I need to prove it to the team why I don't trust him. So I know now the team is privy to some information which they were not. And clearly, I've created a flutter in the whole team. So now I'm in an awkward position. The boss is in an awkward position and the team is in an awkward position. It's very messy right now. What do you think I did next?
You would have planned to leave the organization and get a good job.
Okay. Thank you, Ashoka. Give examples to the team. Okay. Right there, Rajesh? You mean give examples right there?
Maybe to give yeah, support or boost to the team that in future maybe we can patch up the past and look for a better future together as a team.
Okay. Okay. Give them some hope that, we can make it work together. That was past. Today is different. Okay. So reassure them because I was a senior leader in that team. So, I could have done that. Okay. Explain what needs to be done. Still trust can be developed. Exactly. That's what I did. So I said that, yes, it's true that, I don't trust him today. But at the same time, we can make it work. And it will be my endeavor to make it work with him and all of you over the next few months and years. And then, he chatted and all that we spoke and all that. He spoke about his values, etc., etc. And he went back to his room. I came back to my desk. And that was the end of story 2. Okay. How long do you think I stayed in that organization?
Maybe for a long time.
Interesting. I like it. How long? Give me some time.
3 years.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Interesting. Okay. And how do you think of that?
To prove that even the past that will not affect our future. And maybe your boss also, new boss also supported to patch up his past to show
Okay.
support to the team and to you.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Interesting.
if,
Rajesh, I created transformation. Okay. There's a solution to every
if,
problem.
if
Okay.
you wouldn't
Vishwanath, I
have
became
proved,
his boss. No, that's not true, Vishwanath. Sorry, Dhavamani?
if you wouldn't have proved, then also you would have gone out. If you would have proved, then also you would have gone out.
That's true too. Absolutely.
Correct, no?
Absolutely.
So, because the task is actually not direct, it is
Yeah.
based on a challenge. Probably
Yeah.
it would have taken a 3 years.
Probably. Okay. Shalab, I didn't become his boss. What else? So I stayed in that organization for more than 2 years. But the interesting thing is, I am still to recover from that relationship, that conversation, right? And that takes me to the third story. Okay. Third story happened in Hyderabad. Okay. So this was one afternoon in Gachibowli. Anyone from Hyderabad here?
Yes, Gopinath is there.
Okay. Hi, Gopi. Yeah. So this was in Gachibowli. And one afternoon, I got a message that, please come to this room. We are meeting in this training room. Meeting in this boardroom. And I didn't know what for. So I just walked up. So I walked in and I saw nearly 50 people in that room. And the site leader also was there. And there were some people on video conference. So people had logged in and all that. So everyone was quite curious as to what is happening. My best friend was sitting next to me. appear, and the site leader started the presentation saying that from next week onwards, we are going to have Mr. X take over the training function, and Kingshuk will report to X. X was my best friend who was sitting next to me. I had no inkling of this announcement coming, and neither did X. But I did not know that. What do you think I did at that point in time?
Maybe expressed your unhappiness.
Okay, but there are 50 leaders sitting in the room from across functions and businesses.
Maybe you
What
should
should I do?
congratulate you.
Congratulate X, okay?
And prove that you will be suitable and achieve, and you have a capable to have that position also.
When should I do it? At that
After
time,
congratulating
later?
him.
Okay.
Yeah, at
After
the end of your speech. Yeah.
Okay. I keep quiet and looking for the next move to happen. Okay, just keep silent and watch. Wished him well. Okay, all possibilities. Anyone else?
Kingshuk, what I would feel is you would first, since he's your best friend, you would know his strengths and weaknesses and his attitude, skills, and competencies, knowledge
Okay.
for that position, and you have a self awareness about yourself. So you think
Right.
which one is best for the organization. And if
Huh.
you feel he's best for the organization or is better than you or more suited,
Huh.
then you would accept it. But if you feel you're better, then in the organization's interest, you can even say that he's my best friend and we have good trust within ourselves. But dot dot dot.
At that moment, what should I have done? I mean, the announcement happened. The next minute, what should I do? He's sitting next to me. What should I do?
Maybe you handshaken with him.
Shake hand with him. Okay. I did that. After that, what should I do?
You might have submitted your resignation.
Exactly. So what I did was I got up after 5 minutes just to make it evident to everyone that I'm very happy with the decision, office decision is right, etc., etc. And after 5 minutes, I got out of the room and I walked to my desk, which was about 400 meters away. It was a long bay, so I was walking. And while going on the way, one person called me to his room and spoke to me. What do you think he told me? He was my senior, so he saw me going to my seat. He called me to his room. What do you think he told me?
Don't take it negative. Maybe it's a management decision. And please support with your usual sincerity.
Right.
Maybe like that. Yeah.
Okay. Possible.
He may have probably told you that they wanted you to resign and that's why this happened.
Okay. Thank you, Shalab. You are here to correct the things. Okay. Possible. Anyone else?
Probably may be asking, what is your opinion? What are you going to do now?
Right. Okay. That's what he did. He said, Kingshuk, why are you walking to your desk? The meeting is not yet over. So I said, sir, I'm going to collect my thoughts. So he said, what thoughts? I said, I feel like resigning. He said, don't do it. So I said, give me a reason why I should not do it. What do you think he said?
He would have told you that time will be there to prove that you are better than the other person, and you may also get the chance after some time. So wait for some more time. So
Wait for
time
some
will
more time.
be the solution.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you will be transferred to some other site as a same equal position, maybe after 1 or 2 months also. Maybe there is a chance.
Possible. Mr. Rajshekhar, bad luck for now. You have a great future. Why you should not wait? Mr. Anandam, okay. He said, Kingshuk, whatever you're going to do after walking to your desk, I said, I want to resign. He said, don't do it. Don't do it because not that you can't do it, but I want you to change the way you're looking at this. How exactly are you feeling right now? So I said, I'm feeling very hurt. So he said, what exactly in this whole process is hurting you? He said, the fact that people did not find me fit enough to be informed that I need to be moved out and someone needs to come in. He said, okay. So can I ask you for 5 minutes of your attention? I said, okay, sure, do that. He said, at any point in time, today or later, if you feel you have not been accepted, I want you to see it differently. I want you to see it as someone who is not fit enough to engage you. You are much more valuable than the organization. At this moment, I don't think you are seeing that. You are seeing the organization as more powerful. I want you to move your chair and see yourself as more powerful and be in a position to decide whether this organization deserves you or not. You can quit, you can stay, but I want you to change your frame. I said, thank you very much. I left the room. I shook hands. I left the room. I went back to my desk. And what do you think I did?
Maybe resigned.
Okay. Tawfiq. Anyone else?
You would have asked the management why I was not selected. What is the
Possible.
reason?
What's the reason? Seek some feedback so you can work on it.
Yeah.
What I did was I went back to my desk and I said, what can I do at this stage? And I started thinking, and I did not resign. And with that, I come to the end of the third story. Okay. So let me stop sharing my screen and talk to all of you. So what are you getting from these three stories? Anything common, anything unique?
Sir, my name is Muthukumar. Can I say something?
Yes, of course, 100%.
Yeah, good morning. So, based on my experience, the story, I didn't hear the first story. Sorry, I joined late. I came in the mid of the second story. So I don't know what was the first story. So forgive me if I am not reflecting to the first story. So I get from the mid of second story. So based on the third story, which is very interesting, my observations are two things from experience. Basically, right now, the questions you asked, and when people try to answer it was from a victim's point of view. Whereas for example, if the question was like, if I am the boss, for example, I take the decision to promote A and not to promote B. That's one option from a viewpoint of looking at that, from a perception point of view. So there are issues in organizations, like we automatically assume in your story, third story, right? All the listeners automatically are assuming that the person who is affected, who is victimized, is capable and is become a victim. What we do not know is that person is really capable and how and why. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's exclude any political issues or any kind of favoritism in the organization. Let us say that it is not there. We only see that everything was done on merit. Let's assume that. So if everything is done on merit, there is a reason for an organization to decide A is better than B. Now, but B may think, as you know very well with your experience, a quarterback philosophical model, B may think I am better than A, so I'm being victimized, so I want to resign and go to react to that. The question is to look at both sides of the coin, right? For example, if there's a merit was chosen, then what is the reason that what most of the time I see from my experiences when people are not given what they expect in a performance appraisal or bonus or incentives or promotions and career growth, anything, the first thing they feel is they're victimized without thinking the other way that what I am lacking to become a product that is valuable to the management. And that is another point of view which we'll have to look at it, sir. And it's both the ways as to work out. That is my humble opinion.
I agree. I agree. What you're saying is that look from both the sides and see if looking from both the sides shifts your perspective. Is that correct? Mr.
Yes,
Kumar?
sir. Yes, sir. What I mean to say, what I'm trying to say is that in any organization, since it's a very practical discussion you are making now, and of
Yeah.
course, all the people attending, I'm sure that they're all in a very high positions in organizations. We see
Yeah.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Invariably, we see it all the time, sir. Because whenever we do something, whenever we have the same situation applies everywhere. There is always A or B, to be or not to be. That situation is always there for any leader of an organization
Yeah.
to choose one against another. Now, what
Yeah.
happens is that, as I said, if I remove the favoritism, politics out of it, if we just purely assume merit was there, then one guy is always feel victimized. And
Yeah.
but the question always is that there is no training for them in organization to reflect on their own, say, okay, why I'm not capable? Why do the boss think that I'm not capable of, instead of feeling emotionally reactive to the situation? And that's one of the major challenges in the world today. And people just resign and do whatever they want to do, or act
Yeah.
accordingly, or try to prove themselves. They react very
Yeah.
fast, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is one of the issues actually in many organizations. And so I said it's not about the second point of view, it's about
Yeah.
the quarterback mentality of people, which is very common in the world everywhere. So even at home, a sibling
True.
is chosen by a father to another sibling, the same feeling, the
True.
sibling gets victimized. So
True.
but the philosophy of psychology says very clearly that the challenge is when people become victimized, they feel they are victimized straight away,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it covers and masks any kind of rational thinking or philosophical thinking. You don't reflect,
Yeah.
then automatically you become emotional, and this
That's
is
true.
what training we should give. So that's what I got my experience in all my
Good.
years.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. In fact, your exact message, I also heard from another person who said, focus on the message, don't mix it up with the messenger. So when you get feedback, when I get feedback, can you focus on the message and not focus on the messenger? If you mix it up, you have a problem. So you're absolutely right. That's true. Any other reaction from anyone before I go to the next part of my story?
Yeah, Kingshuk. So I would like to say that in all three situations, these were difficult situations which you came across. So how to do the problem solving, quick thinking as to
Yeah.
how to respond in such situations and how to communicate and what to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So understanding your own self-awareness of your emotions and what would be the emotions of the other person. And
That's true.
what the predecessor said, that like what you said, focus on the message and not on the messenger.
Yeah.
Without any giving any motives to it, look at it very independently and take a logical view on it.
Absolutely. And that's the next part, Rajesh. So we'll go to that. Anyone else before any question? Wait and improve yourself. Absolutely, Anandam. That
No,
was the
I
whole
think
thing.
I'm Asoka speaking.
Yeah, Ashoka. Yeah.
I think you react too much.
Okay.
Instead of responding, you're reacting too much.
Reacting too much. Yes, I agree. So that helped because I learned from that. That helped. So what I'll do is I'll share the next part of the presentation and we'll go from there. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing which I want to talk about is role play. Okay. What my boss after the presentation, what she did was she said, Kingshuk, how do you think the presentation went? I said, I think it was absolutely terrible. So she did ask me for a lot of self-reflection. I did that. She said, for the next presentation, I would like to do some role play with you so that, you get comfortable with the room. I said, okay, how does it work? She said, before every meeting, I would like you to do a role play with me where I will be the difficult stakeholder and I want you to be Kingshuk. Okay. And I want you to go through the whole presentation in front of me at least 3-4 times. I'm going to ask degree of questions, which will be ranging in various degrees of difficulty. And once you find it comfortable, then we'll go for the final presentation. So let's say presentation is on Friday. How many role plays would you need before Friday? So I was much more cautious and conservative this time. I said, I will need at least 3 role plays. She said, okay. So when the next meeting was coming up, we sat down and I made the presentation. I went for the first role play. I had some learnings. I brought it to the second role play. I had some more learnings. And then I came to the third role play. And here what she did was she brought in some more variables, which I had not planned for. So one variable was the power went out and I could not show the PowerPoint because there was no power. So she said the power has gone out. Now you have to speak from memory. So I did that practice. Then what she did was she also did a reverse role play. So she made me the site leader and she became Kingshuk. Now, why do you think she suggested a reverse role play? What was her thinking behind it? Can you put on the chat?
Empathy.
Interesting. Empathy. Okay.
So that you can slip into the shoes of other people and then look at it.
Very good. Very good, Ashoka. Absolutely. 100%. To know other perspective. Absolutely. To make you understand better. I had no idea what the site leader is looking at. But by moving to that chair, I was able to think like a site leader. I started thinking like a site leader. My questions changed. And the way she answered clearly showed that she had shifted her thinking from Kingshuk, who was responding to the boss, to Kingshuk, who was responding to a site leader. Then we again did a direct role play, and after 4 role plays, after 5 role plays, I was really, really comfortable. So when the next presentation happened, I did a home run. The site leader was happy. My boss was happy, and we lived happily ever after. So what is that takeaway for yourself?
Do homework before you go.
Practice.
Yeah, practice. Absolutely. Absolutely. So executive communication is not about walking into the room with your PowerPoint thinking that everything will work well. She taught me how to read the room. She taught me the power of practice. She taught me the fact that it is not just plan B that you have to think of, you have to think of plan C, plan D. And most importantly, she taught me reverse role play. And that has become my mantra, if you call it. I love role play. I love reverse role play. And then she said that Kingshuk, if I am playing the role of a site leader, I mean, you are playing the role of a site leader and I'm playing Kingshuk. And if there's a fly sitting on the wall, what would the fly talk about our relationship? What would the fly say about our relationship? Are we pally? Are we formal? Are we friendly? Are we learning from each other? How would they describe the culture of this room? That brought a different perspective to me from a reverse role play, because now she was giving me a systemic view of the discussion. So when two people are talking, what exactly is felt by an observer? So she put an empty chair in the room and said, there is a fly sitting on this chair. I want you to talk about what does this fly think about our relationship? So I said, I think it's a little formal. So I said, would you like a formal between us or would you like it to be friendly? I said, I would like it to be friendly. I would like it to be dialogue based. I would like it to be partnership. So she said, what words do you need to use to make it sound like a partnership? So I changed my narrative from formal to words around partnership so that the fly would have a different description of our conversation. So just to summarize, now we're talking of role play, we're talking of reverse role play, and we're talking of a systemic view of the conversation, right? Is it a good time to move to the next story?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Now, I went to my coach with this conversation with my boss, the honest conversation, okay? And I told him that, look, this is what I had with him. So he said, why don't you take a sheet of paper and make 2 columns, okay? So as I speak, if you can also do the same thing, take a fresh page of paper and make a column, okay? Put a column in the center. On the left-hand side, I want you to write down everything that I was thinking about telling my boss. And on the right-hand side, if you can write down what I actually told my boss. Okay. So let me do it for myself. When he called me into the room, and imagine I have a column, I have a page in front of me. So my left-hand column, the first thought was, why do I have to work with this silly guy? Why do I have to work with this person with whom I don't trust? And a lot of other words which you can imagine. So that was on my left-hand column. What was on my right-hand column, which I told him exactly, is, hi, so-and-so. He said, how do you think, we can work together? What do you think of me? The first sentence I said is, I don't trust you. Now, moment I said that, he said, well, we can discuss about it. What was in my left-hand column, according to you? In my left-hand column, it was, now that I have slapped you, let me see how you deal with this. But what I told him was, sure, I'm sure we can find a way together. In my left-hand column now, I was thinking, the hell I want to work with you. What I told him was, absolutely, let's go to the first floor and meet the HR folks. When I went to the first floor, in my left-hand column, what I was thinking was, I'm not sure what he will do now. When he said, we just met each other in the 9th floor and we are here, I thought I'll meet all of you. So thank you, Kingshuk, for bringing me here. I smiled. So that was my right-hand column. Okay. Then he said, Kingshuk, why don't you tell them what you just told me? So in my left-hand column, it was, oh, shoot. Oh, unparliamentary. Oh, French. Then my right-hand column was, we just met 5 minutes back and I told him I don't trust him. Now my left-hand column was, Kingshuk, what the French are you doing? Why are you doing this? My right-hand column was, I'm sure we can work it out. What I had in the past was past. I'm sure we can work things out going forward. And I'm looking forward to this relationship. Now my left-hand column was, Kingshuk, you have really, really messed it up today. And I have no idea what will happen tomorrow. My right-hand column was, I stood there smiling. And as he finished his speech, we shook hands and we moved out. This exercise is called the left-hand column, right-hand column. Now, if you look at it, the length of the left-hand column is usually much more, maybe 20, 30, 40 lines. But the right-hand column for most of us is very, very short. It's polite, it's nice, it's very political, it's politically correct. And what I was going was, how can I be the person who exactly says his left-hand column? How can I be the person who is honest? But I was not taking care of the fact that I was honest, but I was also coming out as toxic. And the challenge for each one of us as executives is, how do we retain the honesty in the right-hand column, but we are not toxic? I was being very honest, but I was coming out as toxic because I stayed for more than 2 years, probably credit to me, credit to him, and credit to various other factors. But in many other cases, I would have probably lost my job. So this is the second tool that we can all explore, that how do we have the honesty in the right hand without being toxic? so that my left-hand column and my right-hand column are nearly same in terms of thought and speech. Now, what's the damage if I don't transfer the honesty from the left hand to the right hand? I will have multiple thoughts, I will have multiple reflections, but I will be saying only very much less on the right hand. And this toxicity, which is sitting on my left hand, actually will spoil my health. It will spoil my effectiveness. It will spoil my contribution. So it is not just good for health, it is also good for our success as executives in organizations. Now, this tool was kind of created by a professor at Harvard Business School, Chris Argyris. I will share the link. You can have a look at it. And if you want to practice it, you're most welcome. So this is the second tool. I will take questions, any reactions, any thoughts? Anyone? Yeah, Rajesh. Without hurting is all very important because people don't care. People just care about the relationship.
My question is,
Yeah.
These are all actually old stories. How it relates to present day?
Sorry, not clear. How does it relate to the present day?
Yeah.
Okay. Present day means, in present situation, do you have any situation in mind?
In the same position, some middle-level manager is there who is around 40s. What is your message to him?
Okay. So I won't say my message to him. I'm just saying it's an invitation. It's an invitation to explore how you are feeling about the conversation and what you want to do with it. So in my case, for example, I was having a value dilemma as to how can I be true to my values? At deep in my heart, I don't trust him. But the fact is that by telling someone so openly, what am I achieving?
What am I achieving?
Is that person going to become better? Is my relationship going to become better? Will we win as a team? These are questions. So this kind of tool, provides us an opportunity to explore if these competing constraints can be brought together and everyone wins. So from win-lose, you probably become a win-win kind of a thing. That's my submission. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's move to the third tool. So we discussed role play. We discussed right-hand column. We'll go to the third one, which is reframe. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what does reframe mean? So let me just give an example and then probably I can explain the concept. So if you look at the bottom of this slide, frame one, let's say the lady of the house says there is no rice at home. Okay. The reframe one is we need to buy rice for home. Reframe two is all of us are eating really well. We need more rice. Okay. Another frame is no one likes me. So reframe 1 is no one is like me. Reframe 2 is no one likes me as much as I like myself. Are you getting the concept?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashoka. So what's the framework? The framework is write down the original sentence that impacted you. Ask yourself, what are some other ways that I could receive it, right? As members were saying that, how we receive the feedback is important. So stopping by and stepping back is important and asking yourself, what are the other ways in which you could receive it? And write down all possible options and frames and choose a frame that is most insightful for you. Okay. Now, all the frames may not be helpful for everyone. That's okay. Choose a frame that's helpful for you and then write a letter to the speaker of the original sentence. You said this, I received it like this. So it's almost like you moved my friend to my boss's position. The way I see it is, it's a fantastic opportunity for me as a leader to stand out in this situation and show you how I can add value in this situation. And finally, write a letter to yourself saying that I could use this frame to light up other areas of my life. So if I'm always negative about something or some trigger I have, can I reframe that and use it like a torch to light up other parts of my life? Now my biggest $1,000,000 question is, which tool I should use for which story? Where should I use reframe? Where should I use right-hand column? Where should I use role play? Anyone? So the first site review, disaster. Which tool is most helpful?
The first one.
Role play.
The first one.
Okay, role play. Very good.
Role play.
Can I use reframe also in that situation?
I don't think it is very much applicable there.
Okay.
Yes, we can use reframe also.
I can use reframe. Okay, Rajesh, how will I reframe that event in my place? How would you reframe it?
So reframing means whatever is said to you, you change you think of various possibilities and take the best which suits the purpose. So you are trying to convert the threat into an opportunity kind of thing by being having a positive attitude. So instead of thinking, oh, I've been slighted and because data is not there, instead of fumbling or being sad about it. Okay, just think about it logically. It's a fact that data is not there. Now, how do I handle the situation? Say, okay, I apologize. The data is not there. There was an error on lapse on my part. But now to make the most out of this meeting, now we have two options. Either we can continue with whatever data is available and whatever perspectives I have in mind. Evidence can be provided later. Right now, you need to presume that what I'm giving you is almost more close to what the reality is. Or else we can postpone the meeting to another time and have a more useful conversation. It's for the jury to decide or for you to decide.
That's true. In fact, in my hindsight, I realized that my boss had reframed it in her mind. I mean, the frame that she might have had for me was, Kingshuk is an idiot. But the way she reframed it, she said, Kingshuk, let's get back to the drawing board. Let's do role play. Let's do this. Let's do that. If you think about it, if I think about it, I think she reframed Kingshuk in her mind that here is an executive who needs a second chance or who deserves a second chance probably for some reason. Because in her place, my default reframe would have been, my frame would have been, oh, Kingshuk let us down. Probably. Are you with me, Rajesh?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that was my learning, So she did role play, and one could use reframe also. But I think she did an amazing job. So I'm so grateful. In which situation should I have used right-hand column, left-hand column?
Situation.
Which one? Sorry, Ashoka?
That is, you said your boss. You don't trust your
Yeah,
boss.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That was a clear case of left-hand, right-hand column. I should have learned that tool. I should have tried it out. I should have known it. It didn't happen. It's okay. At least it got me to the drawing board. But if tomorrow something were to happen like this, God forbid, I should be better prepared, right? And the third situation where my org announcement was made, you think I could use reframe there or something else?
Reframe.
Yeah. How would you reframe, Ashoka?
You have to. No. You can use the left hand, right hand.
Okay.
Left hand.
Go
You can
on,
go
please.
back
Go
to your
on,
room
please.
and then sit down, and then you can write down both. And then it gives you time to think, apply your mind. Instead of reacting, you can respond. So you get some time. And also in that case, what I feel is that first of all, you should know yourself first.
Yeah.
You should know about you.
Yeah.
So that is very important. You should understand yourself first.
That's what. And that's what my boss was telling, that, do you know your worth? Do you know your worth? You're putting the firm at a pedestal and you're going to quit. What for? Have you evaluated yourself? So in a way, he was reframing it for me, saying that, boss, I'm not sure if you've done your homework. What the organization does, leave that aside. But, have you done your stuff? So when I went back to my drawing board, to my desk, the main reason why I did not pull out my resignation letter was, I said, here's an opportunity for me to think and reflect. Do I know my value? So that was very powerful. Okay. So we're coming to the close of the presentation. I'll just share my screen for one last bit, and then we can take it for Q&A. So I've used some reference material. You can have a look at this. You can anyway search them up on Google, etc. So that's that. And these are my coordinates. So I'm happy to connect offline, etc. So with that, we come to the close of the presentation. So Gopi, is it a good time for questions, Q&A?
Yes, we can start. But before that, I would just like to add one more thing. See, we have Mr. Lakshmi. Probably when your travel takes you to Hyderabad next, probably you can try to connect with Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan, the president of Biocon.
I see. Sure. Okay. I'll do that. Yeah.
Share your number. He will also get.
Can I have the last slide a little more?
Yes. 1 second. Yeah, I'll just share it again.
Lakshmi, is that okay with you?
Yes, Gopi sir, no problem. We can meet him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Kingshuk, I have one question.
Yes, please.
So just tell me if my understanding is right. For left-hand column and right-hand column, it's focused on how I should respond. If I'm thinking something, then what I should be saying. Whereas reframing is trying to understand what other person is saying and try to reframe it and then responding. So LHS, RHS is focused on what we are saying, and reframing is more on interpreting what the other person is saying. Is that correct?
Refrain can also be a question that you are saying yourself. It's about a story that you're telling yourself. It's not about others always.
But the beginning is you're trying to interpret what someone else is saying. Whereas in in LHS, RHS, it's more of what do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, yes, at a straight level, yes, it is true, Brajesh. But, if you think about it, many of us also have a script that is running in our brain all the time, which we tell ourselves.
Correct.
And
Got it.
that also is an opportunity to reframe.
Right.
So
Understood.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Left-hand column, right-hand column is about what we are thinking, what we are saying, how congruent we are, and is there an opportunity for congruence? Now, when I was going ballistic with my boss, I didn't want to be congruent. Even if you had told me the framework, I didn't want to do it because I was very keen to give it back. Right? I was very keen to give it back. But the whole training about this LHS, LHC, RHC is, can you hold on to that impulse and not ruin the boardroom? Because you'll get only one chance.
Correct.
Now, it is good fortune that the boss kept me in that organization for 2 years. I mean, it was easiest thing for him to, just ask me to leave. It is his credit more that I stayed there for more than 2 years than mine. So I did political harakiri, but there's an opportunity to learn from it, is what I would say. Does that make sense, Rajesh?
Absolutely. And actually, I can, it resonates very well with me because in my last organization, only towards the end, I learned how to be more, honest at the same time, not hurting. Before that, I was too blunt.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we get many requests, from corporate executives, from CEOs and CXOs that, our executive is a star, he or she's a star, but, doesn't brook, any nonsense. So in the boardroom, she or he is very, very tough. Can you just work with this person to, get the language right? And this tool really works like a charm.
Yep.
Ashoka sir, would you like to add something?
No, Gopi, but I want to ask him some other question not related to this subject.
Sure.
His name is Ganguly. I am so curious to know how did he come to Annamalai University, and before that, where was he? This is what I want to know. Can you tell me, please?
Yeah, sure. So my dad was in Air Force. He's retired now. He's based in Cal, very active. And so Annamalai University had some seats, kept aside for defense people, right? So I had a mandate to join one of those seats through that. So that's how I got into Annamalai. I passed from DPS RK Puram, Delhi. So, it was Sat Samundar Par, but, that's how I came here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Vishu, you can go on, Vishu.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Sure. Just trying to condense this right hand, left hand. Left hand seems to be impulsive, negative thoughts, and right hand is positive and possibility thoughts. Can you sum up like that?
Not really. So I'll give you a spin. On that. That's a great question, actually. Suppose my maidservant, does an amazing job. On the first day she joins work, what are the chances that I'll be fully wholehearted in my praise for her?
Relief. At least you got a good.
So the thought that will mine in my head is, if I praise her on the first day, she'll, take me for granted. So just restrain yourself, just go slow. Watch her, if she is trying to impress you or something, or he or she, not to make it a gender thing. So it's not always negative. It could also be something which you're thinking, but which you're not saying. That's all.
Cautious.
It happens with an associate also, someone who does very well on day one, comes up, we're all decked up, amazing work, very punctual, submits the dashboard on time. My first reaction is it too early to praise this guy or girl? Let's see more consistency. And in the process, we probably miss the bus sometimes. So this judgment, when to do which one requires a bit of reflection.
Dr. Jina?
Sorry, but I have one question, Kingshuk.
Yes.
Gopi, sorry.
Yeah, please.
So, for leadership development, can we use these tools? Conduct programs for leaders.
Yes.
How do we take this forward? Whatever these learnings are. So, in the sense, of course, we can apply it to ourselves first. But if we want to apply it for others, then we need to conduct sessions for the leaders and explain to them these concepts or what?
Yeah, exactly. So you need a strong facilitation in the room, for which there are people who can do this. It's also a lot of material on YouTube, so one can learn and teach it. Both are available. It can also be done as self-study. So before the facilitator comes to the room, it can be shared as pre-work to the participants, and it can be practiced in meetings live before they actually go for the workshop. So people come with real lived experience to the room. They're not theoretical. So It can be done in multiple ways.
So these are specially for the communicators and those who are conducting workshops or leaders who are anchoring the meetings.
Meetings, even one-to-one conversation. For example, if you look at me and my boss example, it's a one-to-one thing. But if I'm not familiar or, if I have not done enough work on these areas, I can come out as very, very arrogant or, clueless or, helpless or, very immature. So it is true for one-on-one, it is true for a team, it's true for a meeting, it's true for a large program. But primarily, it lands well when people have a lived experience of, certain years. At a junior level, one can explain them, but to get the full import of it, a little bit of lived experience is important.
Right. Thank you.
Dr. Jina, please go on, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. Anyway, hearty congratulations on a very thought-provoking presentation, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, so I just wanted to know, see, you were talking about a script which you have, which influences the reframing and all that, right? So do you think, as a expert in the matter, the domain knowledge, so our executives going through some kind of a process workshops, like Indian Society of Applied Behavioral Sciences conducts process workshops. Similarly, personal growth laboratory kind of thing, IMs conduct and all that. Whether it will be helpful in understanding yourself and from the perspective of organizational behavior or board functioning, will it lead to some additionality? That is my question.
Absolutely. But I really feel so. I have done a bit of work with ISABs and Tavistock. So in the room, if you recall, in the room, if you think about it, for those of us who are, little new to this, many of us have our frames when we are in the room. We are coming from different frames, and the role of the facilitator is to shift the frame from one person to another and explain
exactly
how does this frame look like. So it's all about reframing there. And if you look at left-hand column, right-hand column, there's so much of undercurrent in the room.
Correct.
How do you surface it? So the facilitator actually is using left-hand column, right-hand column without calling it out all the time. So for example, if I notice some violence coming from some person which is not physical, how will I surface it?
Correct.
only by using left-hand column, I might say that, Dr. Jinnah, I just feel, a threat of violence from you, every time, you speak to me. Now, that is being extremely honest. And that the whole point is, how do I be nice and say to you so that, I'm able to live with it, you're able to live with it, and the room is able to live with it.
That's
and ISABs, all the time that violence and non-violence, the back and forth, is where the learning really comes home, right?
true.
So I think, all of them can be used. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we are agreeing on some point. It's okay. That's all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Next question, please. Arvind Gopal, Arun Ramsamy.
So, yeah. Basically, I just had one thing. When you mentioned the toxic center, where you have it in your mind, but when you speak out in your right hand column, you have a diplomatic way of saying things. So, how do you? Because I was just thinking that the toxic center comes from your thoughts, and if you have a positive emotions, then the toxic center can be changed to a nourishing center. So, how do we develop this skill?
Yeah. I think, the skill happens when we see the X-ray ourselves. And by that, what I mean is, either the Excel sheet or the white paper on which you have filled up both the columns. If you look at it, looking at the X-ray actually brings in a lot of clarity. Saying that, oh, I was thinking all this, but look at what I said. It's completely opposite. I mean, it's completely dishonest. That smile was completely not required. When I was thinking that this person is so stupid. So that reflection, I think, is the starting point for awareness. And ongoing basis, if that reflection is done, humility does creep in, I feel. I mean, people can still say that, no, I won't do it, or, I don't require it, or I don't care. That's different. But if some people are on that journey, looking at the X-ray can really help. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, what happens is like when we have a team of core mastermind team where actually we have different people with unique talents and thing, but sometimes across when we have to be honest in our discussions, sometimes it hurts the people the way we present it, because everybody has egos sometimes, because I would say their position calls for it and their talents are called for it. But yeah, as they grow, because at the younger age we don't see this coming up because they've engaged themselves in a better way. But as when they grow the ladder, these types of thoughts comes up to them that he's pointing out to me and at this particular situation. So privately, certain things which are being said on a one-to-one communication, we don't see that that is being taken and it is being implemented. So sometimes we are forced to pinpoint it in a group so that it gets perked him, and then he thinks that yes, it is time for me to do that. So this is somewhere we are trying to find the right balance to ensure that we are honest, and at the same time we are not hurting the other person who is.
Yeah. As long as we are able to, as long as we are okay with the consequences of that conversation in public.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Absolutely.
Yeah, please go on, sir. Dhamani, sir.
How did you brand this left and right hand side for this particular purpose? Is it something to do with brain mapping type of thing, or what is the thing? How did you choose this?
No, so this is a tool. It's a proprietary tool.
Is it
it's
arbitrary?
A proprietary. No, it's not arbitrary. It's a proprietary tool by Professor Chris Argyris from Harvard Business School. He has designed this tool.
What was his basis then?
That I won't know. I mean, I won't know that, but You never know. I mean, if more research is done, probably there's some story there. I would not know that, but it's a great question. I don't have an answer.
Yes, I have read a book named Free Will. Probably, I don't know, you also would have read it. It's just a 60-page book.
Sorry,
That
free?
Free Will.
Free will. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I've not
Free
read.
will. Finally says that no one has a free will. Means like he's bound by the society and the thought process is very much interlinked.
Right.
That has been scientifically proven. It's a scientific book, actually. It took a
Nice.
long time for me to complete those 60 pages, in fact.
I'm sure.
That's why I asked actually whether this right and left hand side branding has any scientific base.
No. I won't know that. I think it'll be good to read up more. I have no context on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
So I have some beautiful discussions. Thank you very much for this. I really enjoyed the whole session and the questions and answers. Right. So can I share some my experience and thoughts on this, sir?
Absolutely. Please.
Yeah. So basically, the whole model of the entire the gambit of organizations and the behavior, and a gentleman talked about free will now and about individuals getting bounded to society, and so you can divide them into four major categories. Some of them are very linear, and all the way we can rank them up to very complex. So if you look at the four categories of highly linear, mostly linear with some complexity, and highly complex, and then very high complex matter, which is beyond. For example, a war which is happening, a fight is happening, a war is happening, and that is a different category altogether. So that is not happening on a daily basis, not happens to people across the world. So leaving out that fifth level of very high complexity, but we face this four complexity depending upon where we work, whatever is our qualification, whatever organizations we work, and all these things. So if you look at these four models, right, and one of the things, whatever methodology, what you discussed today, and very interesting actually, but its applicability comes into factor that what level of organization. So what we normally call it as a impact and consequences model. So whatever we do, whether from a personal perspective or from an organization perspective, there is a degree of impact and there's a degree of consequences. So as we go from the very linear level thing, jobs or organizations, to very complex organizations, the impact and the consequences, the degree keeps going up. So as you go up along the path of the higher degree of impact and consequences and complexity, then the whole mindset, the whole concept of how one has to behave in an organization, perform actions, deliver tasks, it changes continuously. And what I see, sir, my experience is more than 80%, even I'll say more than 90% of systems prepared and existing in this kind of model is for the very linear systems, because it's extremely difficult for developing a model for complex organizations, because when you're working in a complex situation, you should be part of that. I mean, that means you don't have time to reflect. There's no time to react. You already trained so much that all the methodologies, all the systems, all the strategies already inbuilt in you so much with your experience that you become a domain expert in it. You have to act immediately because the impact and consequences are extremely high. So I think it doesn't apply. One of the major concerns I always have is that a single philosophy does not apply to everybody. It varies according to the situational context and the level of complexity one is dealing with, and the impact and consequences. Maybe it may be very helpful for you to kind of see whether you can expand this model, because one of the things is that it is not linear applicable to everybody. It depends upon the level of complexity and the impact and consequences.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Choosing the context is so important, to understand, what is applicable where and all that. So I totally subscribe to that. And it's a matter of, it's a continuum. It's not a point in arrival. It's like, this is where you stop. So very true.
Yeah, we'll be happy to discuss with you one-on-one later on.
Yes.
Stuff, because,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyone else has a question? Varghese, Johnny Varghese, Salab.
No, sir, everything well explained.
Can I
Ravindra?
ask a question?
Yeah, please go on.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very nice presentation. I really liked it. See, this is regarding our corporate thing, like how we communicate with people. That's fine. But my question is the real time life. I just wanted to inculcate these into the younger generation. That means, like, as a kid, like how we can bring all this to them, because if you see in especially in our Indian families, like we what restrict our kids to think, no, you shouldn't be doing this, you should do that. So where they stop thinking about it, like your hand column or left hand column, all this, like I just wanted to bring this into the family. Can we do that? Do you have any simple tools for that, or can you simplify this and apply to our lifestyle also?
Yeah. That's a great question, ma'am. Thank you very much. So we do have two teenage daughters, so we have lived a part of that through those things. It's a challenge. Now the shift that I think as parents we need to make is the language has to change. So for example, reframe. And I've seen this in our house, when me and wife practice reframe in front of the kids, they learn. Number one. When me and wife have to give feedback to each other, the kids learn. So we have a practice called Panchayat at home, okay, where almost every month or every once in 2 months, all four of us meet, So me and wife and two daughters, we sit with a notepad and we say that today we are going to give feedback to each other. So me giving feedback to my wife in front of the kids will happen, and vice versa. And when feedback is given, all of us will only write down and say received, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. No comments. Okay. And we keep those post-its in our respective almiras and we bring it to the table. Now, initially, even today, I would say, we are not home there with the kids. We do have challenges. But what we try and do as much as possible is, me and my wife, we try to live what we are talking about in the house. So for example, if it is about reframe and I want something, my kid to reframe. So let me give a real example. Let's say my kid says, for example, one of my things is, one of my things which my kid says is, why should I always keep you informed about where I'm going? Okay. And why should I keep you posted? Now, it has come to a stage where she would tell us lies. Okay, she would not update us, and she would tell lies. And I went here, I went there, etc. Now that is a challenge which has not gone yet, and we are still trying to figure out, why does the daughter tell lies? We have tried reframe, we have tried left-hand column, right-hand column, we have tried role play. Nothing has worked. So few areas have worked, but this is one area where we don't have a clue and we are trying to figure it out. So the way we deliver these frameworks to the kids, that needs to change. We have achieved some success and somewhere we have issues and distance to travel. And where we take external help. Yeah.
That's nice.
But it can be
Thank
applied.
you.
It can be applied. It can be applied. We
It
have seen
can
that.
be applied.
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
mostly that reframe is working well, I believe.
Yeah.
And a role play too, to an extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we use right hand column, left hand column quite well at home. So, for example, in a dinner table, if I see some tension, I say, "Is there any left hand column someone wants to share in the room right now on the table?" So I'm giving permission, and everyone else can give permission for everyone else to talk about their left hand column.
Okay.
So people have become familiar with that concept at home. So my daughter might raise her hand and say, I have a left hand column. And it's a permission on the table to speak about our left hand column. It's quite okay. So that's how we brought it to life.
That's nice. Thank you.
Interestingly, it is making me to ask 2 more points. Sorry, Mr. Gopi, is it okay?
No, please go on, sir. Please go on, sir.
See, Mr. Kingshuk, actually, you told a very nice point, which we also follow in our case also, like taking the feedback. That's a nice thing. But many a times, or even most of the times, the feedback is based on a misinterpretation. Now, if you take it as a feedback and try to alleviate that misunderstanding or make it straight by your own action, it might be a bit late, actually. And by your action, the persons who can understand might understand, whereas some other person might carry it in such a way that it remains as a misunderstanding. So don't you feel that the feedback at times should be answered immediately? That is first point. Second point, you were telling about the reason for the lie. My favorite author, Jayaganthan, has written that actually the reason for lie is fear. So where there is no fear, there will be no lie. These are the 2 points which I wanted to tell you. Nice.
You're absolutely right. So we spoke, I'll take your second question first. If you need an answer, but for others, probably I'll give it. We asked her that, why are you, is there fear? So that fear is there, saying that we might scold.
Yeah, that is
okay. It. So then our next question is there a past where we have scolded? Now, on that part, she's not able to give a great answer, but she keeps on that lying, but is still going on. So we haven't figured it out. Maybe there's something else.
Exactly, sir. This is where I was telling about that book, Free Will.
Yeah, okay.
You are trying to create a society, social atmosphere at home, but somehow they are in the society. The society also binds to them. And the society teaches. I absolutely loved that book. I think for your subject, what you have taken today.
I'll look it up.
Please don't think that I am recommending or suggesting, but I feel maybe it's a clue. I can give.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. And to your first question, that if there's a different perspective, if it's an issue of interpretation, what we say, what we do in our panchayat is, do you want me to give a different perspective to this feedback, or do you want me to keep quiet? Most of the time, we have seen other 3 members say, just keep quiet, take the feedback. But the person who has raised his hand or her hand that there's a different perspective, we try and usually hear that person out at home and say, okay, why don't you share? Because we don't want the panchayat to be very official. We want the panchayat to be a friendly place, because on the day of the panchayat, usually we have a family dinner. So we keep the mood in the panchayat very friendly and dialogue based, saying that, okay, why don't you speak? Why don't you give a view? So that the surfacing happens immediately, and there's no misinterpretation as much as possible. That's all. Is that helpful?
Yeah, nice. Good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Ramsamy, do you have a question? Velayudam?
No, sir. Thank you. It's a very interesting session. Mr. Kumar also had thrown a lot of lights, and
can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, please go on, Abhijit. Yes, please go on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please go on.
Yeah. So I just had a question regarding the change that we. Yeah. So I just had a question regarding the change. My question is, it will have a bearing on our basic personality, right? So how do you make that balancing so that when you bring in this change, your basic personality doesn't get diluted? Because otherwise, you will always be in that loop of checking with yourself whether you're doing it correctly or not.
It's totally, I think, it's totally up to you as to when you feel you should stop, when you should, reflect, because it's something you are doing. So there is no template which says you should do 5 times a day or 3 times a year. You should do it when you feel like, or when you're getting some signals from people which you think, is worth reflecting on. Maybe some people you trust, some family members, whom you deeply value, just points out saying that Kingshuk, have a look at that. And you trust that person. That's all. And what I would say is the word change also can be reframed. So instead of saying that, am I becoming a different person? You could reframe it saying that I'm a person whose skill sets are increasing, becoming wider and wider. So you can look at that also, that I'm not changing, I'm expanding.
I just have a follow-up on that, at the end of this effort, the objective is to become more acceptable, and so that we are responsible for each other's success. So if that is getting challenged because of my change in my personality, how do I balance that out? Or as you said, that just stop and do the next action item.
I would say that, the purpose is not to become acceptable. I would say the point of these tools is to become more effective so that you sleep well at night, and the relationship at work and outside work are harmonious, which again result in a good sleep.
Yeah, I get the point now.
It's not about becoming acceptable, because becoming acceptable, can be any definition, right? Being very polite, being very arrogant, it can be, depending on the lens. But if you're able to sleep well at night and your health is fine, I think that's a nice metric as far as I am concerned.
Yeah, I get the point, because the situation that you had in your third story, where your peer was given the role of leading you, I had the same in one of my consulting assignments.
True.
So I was able to I was able to relive that, and perhaps I was figuring out how my boss responded to vis-a-vis what your boss was responding to. So when I used the word acceptable, I used it very broadly. But the purpose is that we have to win, because in a professional environment, in case you have this pole position empathy in mind that we are responsible for each other's success, then everything else downstream falls into place. Communication skills, your behavior, attitude, movement, eye contact. You don't have to address that separately. So in doing that, what I have felt sometimes is that it actually is interfering with my basic personality. And then sometimes what happens is that at the end of the day, I want to be successful, because if I have to choose success as a crucial parameter, it has to be a little more higher in the professional world than in the personal world. In personal world, people can still give you those ropes. But in a professional world, getting those ropes might be a little challenging. Otherwise, it would, if those ropes had been available, then the role play wouldn't have been done so effectively or so consciously as it was done with you in your second or whichever story you had. So I just wanted to understand that how to deal with that crossover. Okay. Thanks.
Got it.
Thanks.
Did you get something?
Yeah, absolutely. Not acceptable. Only up to a point. and not beyond that. Don't break the fabric. Don't break the fabric.
No, you should not. You should not.
Yeah.
You should just stop where you want to. Yeah.
Anyone else has a question? One last question we can take. Shalab? Okay, I think we're done, Kingshuk. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much for being with us on a Sunday morning, Kingshuk.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
We really enjoyed the time here with you. I look forward to your support and we'll stay connected. Even when travel brings me to Mumbai next week, we'll try to catch up.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your questions, and I mean, I could feel the energy at every moment. Yeah, thank you.